Blog Talk Radio.
Unmuted.
And the Boyz. Hey, everybody, and welcome to CB and the Boyz. I am CB, your hostess with the mostess, and got everybody in the building. It's going to be a great show tonight, so stay tuned. We've got Arthur Christine Walters in the building, so you don't want to miss that. So, George, without further ado, roll that beautiful boom piece. I get it.
Welcome to CB and the Boyz with Crystal C.B. Booker, George Biker Boy Holman, Roger Hawkins, and Mimi Acosta. Coming live and direct from YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Blog Talk Radio, and Apple Podcasts. Bringing you hot topics, interviews, live entertainment, and fun every Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central. And now, prepare to get charged up with a whole lot of fun from CB and the Boyz.
All right. Welcome to CB and the Boyz for your midweek motivation, bringing you music, motivation, conversation, laughter, and a whole lot of fun. So is everybody ready to have some fun?
Yay! Fun in the sun.
Awesome.
Bravo.
Welcome to all of our viewers. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world. And don't forget to like us and subscribe because we're so likable. So I got my whole crew in the building, starting with the fabulous Miss Mimi Acosta. What is up, Mimi?
Honey, I am in the building. I am here, okay, present and accounted for.
All right now. Right, and next we have Mr. Fitness himself, Roger Hawkins. What's up, Roger?
What's going on, family? You know me, making it do what it does. You know, another week, another day, another dollar.
All right. All right, and then we have the fabulous Mr. George Biker Boy. Oh, man, the bad boy himself.
What it do? And I see you out there, Trey. What's up, Mr. Trey Hampton in the house?
What's up, family?
Where you been? We ain't seen you in a minute. Oh.
Yeah. Good to see you back. Man, what's going on?
Man, lots to talk about.
Yeah.
So much to talk about.
Yeah, I will say we're not going to dry up and blow away. It's been raining here, so I'm happy because we had a little rain in the desert. So we're struggling.
Having a lot of rain too. Well, it is monsoon season, so of course we're gonna have rain. And it's been a beautiful thing. I love the rain. I love to do many things in the rain. Fun.
Hey, strong day, girl.
Yeah.
It's been pretty.
We're gonna leave that right
It's
there.
been pretty amazing. The rain has been amazing. Amazing. I absolutely love it.
That's what's up. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was
before
dope.
we begin, I wanted to send our condolences out to the family of the legendary Lynn Dawson, who successfully lost his battle with cancer today. So condolences to the Dawson family and his loved ones. Lynn, you will always be remembered. You'll always be a chief. So now you're kicking the football up in heaven and watching over us. So condolences to Lynn Dawson's family. Do you guys remember Lynn Dawson playing for the Chiefs?
Really?
No.
Did you just say that out loud? For real?
I mean, for real, like, dog, she just throw to the hilt. Like, do we remember for real?
Really?
For real.
No insult.
Brother Lynn.
I might have listened to it while I was in my mama's belly. I'm just saying.
Right. He played in Super Bowl I and won Super Bowl III against Minnesota. There you go. Or was it Minnesota or was it Green Bay? I know he played them both.
Green Bay.
Right there. Okay. Right on. Hey, we just glad to see you back, Trey. Trey says he misses us. We missed you too, fam, but I know you got to work and pay bills so that you can have internet and look at us. So do what you do. It's all love.
Right. That part.
Absolutely.
The ice is melting.
The ice
Look at this one here.
Really, the ice is melting.
All right. So this week, Mimi brought some stuff to my attention about how sex traffickers are just getting clever trying to snatch people. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Mimi, to explain about the ties and stuff that people have found on their cars and sniffing the roses. If anybody hands you guys a rose, don't smell it because you'll pass out and wake up in prison.
Some other country.
In bondage.
So,
yeah, probably.
So last year when I bought my car on July 7th, that very same week, because I'm into the whole, got to get the first car wash shit, right? So I go to wash my car. I didn't think anything of it. I saw this tie on the back of the glass, the windshield wiper. And I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know why it was there. But anyway, I took it off. I threw it out. Didn't think anything of it. This whole year plus later, I saw this video with this guy that was explaining that his daughter came home with her vehicle. She had a tie in the back, I guess driver or either passenger side of the car. But it's one of those like police ties when they don't have enough handcuffs to use these ties. So anyway, so that was on the back of my vehicle. I saw the video. He was stating that, he had called his daughter and asked his daughter, like, what's up with these ties? She's like, I don't know. But anyway, he called his brother, who's a cop, and the brother informed him that this is a way for sex traffickers, or abductors to get that, this is a great candidate for trafficking. And when I saw that video, I totally freaking freaked out and shut down in a really interesting kind of way where now I'm like, literally, if you know me, right? If anybody is watching this taping of our show tonight and you know me and you see me out in public, do not try to surprise me by holding my hand, covering my eyes. You might get shot or stabbed. I'm telling you right now. Okay? Because the thing about it is that this shit out here, I say stuff and I say stuff in ways that we laugh about it because, it's just a little, comedic little chicken meat. But I am dead ass. Do not try to surprise me because you might. Ching, ching. Anyway, that shit was not funny to me. I saw another one with this girl that was being followed. She was in the zoo with her kids, and they had stuck toilet paper in the handles of her back, her back doors in her vehicle. And of course, she had security. It was a whole, I have the videos on my social media. So if you guys go on our pages, more than likely, we're sharing it so you'll get a preview to it. But it is a very, very scary thing. So I'm not going to just say females. I'm going to say males as well because males are being abducted. And a lot of females that are being abducted and they have their little kids with them, like these folks are taking these kids to other countries and there's like labor trafficking. They have these little kids in warehouses slaving. So I'm going to tell you guys, the shit is absolutely real. So please be careful. I pray for us all because it's really, really real. To you little, naive little girls out there got your first vehicle and after you're 16, 17 years old, flashing and doing your thing. Be mindful of your surroundings, please, please, please. And I will leave it right there for the rest of us to talk about.
That's, hey, you 100% right on that because where I live, this is probably, I tell people all the time, Vegas and Alaska, strangely enough, are two of the most heavily trafficked states in the country, world for that matter. I'm sure Arizona's up there pretty high too. We're all near the border. And like Nini said, you guys have to understand, we're near the border, which means in about an hour or two, your ass is in another country. It's not a new state. It's not, hitchhiking, you're gone. strangely enough, when my oldest daughter was, I think maybe a sophomore in high school, like a lot of young people, she was trying to, they wanted to figure out creative ways to make money. She wanted to make money fast and do these things. And she made a very, very horrific mistake in that she got, somebody reached out to her and was like, hey, you know, the old scam where they were like, if I send you this check or I send you this gift card, you cash it, send me this money, I'll send you back. Believe it or not, she got caught up in that. And she almost ruined us. She almost ruined my family because they closed down my wife's business account. They closed down our bill account. The only reason that we floated was because we each had a separate personal account that we could pay bills with. The banks locked us out. The banks that we've been with for years almost said you have to go, and we have exemplary, records with them. That, and she was just doing what kids, they want to make that money fast, and she didn't understand how else could she get 200, 300, 500 bucks. She learned a very, very rough lesson. And the worst part about it was that on one of those last transactions, the guy was like, hey, can you meet me at this parking lot? And she just started driving, meet me at this parking lot and bring XYZ to me. And she told me about it. And me being me, now what do you guys think I did? I'll tell you what I did. What do you think I did when she told me?
I'm going to say what I think you did. You showed up and you whooped that ass. And maybe you got the cops involved afterwards.
Close. I was very calm. I said, when do we go? You're right, Mimi. Mimi knows me. I very calmly said, when are we going? Because I knew what this guy was about. I mean, he was about trafficking young girls. She actually had a friend from high school disappear. And I mean, the sad part about it is they talk about this kind of stuff so matter-of-factly. They're so desensitized because crazy shit like this happens all the time. It's horrific. But, I mean, yeah, I let her, don't get me wrong, she caught it from me, but my kids know me well. When I'm really, really calm, it's probably the worst time in the world. I'm either terrified or I'm furious beyond belief because it's that close to being a tragedy. And so I was really calm because I just, my life flashed for me because of what was going to happen. And I was like, when are we going? And the individual never showed up, unfortunately. Shit. I would have taken that on my record in a heartbeat. But yeah, it happens that quickly. And once I began to make her understand exactly what was about to go down, and again, my kids get pretty scary pretty quickly. But yeah, so what you're saying, people don't believe it can happen until it happens, and then you look up, and lo and behold, you don't have a relative or whatever anymore. I mean, listen, I have a relative, not a close one. I have a relative that went to prison for doing this very thing about 20 years ago here, before Vegas was really even big. I really, really do. I mean, it's crazy how prevalent it is. So when people don't think it can, and you know where they end up a lot of times? Places like Missouri, middle of the country, places like Nebraska that you would never imagine. These young ladies and boys are coming to and going to places like Pakistan, Mexico, places you're not going to get them back. If they're here in the U.S., you might have a chance, maybe. If they're across that water, your chance goes down to infinitesimally small. And so, if we don't make our children afraid, fear is healthy. If they're not afraid, they're going to go out there willy-nilly. So we laugh and you're right. You're like, hey, listen, no surprises, none of that bullshit on the street, because this is the most real thing that happens here. People get, Little Girl Lost is pretty much about Vegas, for real. So that's real life. That's true,
And the thing about it is that it's crazy because I'm not just some little girl. I'm a grown-ass woman. At the time, I was 50 years old. So it's like, what do you want with me? But somebody saw something that I didn't think they were looking at. But anyway, I mean, that shit is
it's real, though. It's real.
George,
100%.
George, shut up. But yeah, so ladies, be very careful. I mean, look, just on the news today, they arrested 7 people here in Georgia. They had a whole sex trafficking and human trafficking operation going on. And if you see the kind of people that are doing this, I'm like, they look like they just picked up 7 people from downtown Atlanta and they were all smoking crack. I mean, God forgive me for saying that, but they just all look like whatever, So for them to have these types of rings, and of course, the higher up, that have that type of money is like, look, here, I'm going to pay you this so you can go ahead and find me this. And this is how they're operating. But it's really, really crazy. You know, it's not these businessmen with money anymore, just, you know, yanking these girls. It's these ugly things out here that's like.
This is a old business. This commerce, these transactions, this is going on since men and women have walked the earth. And we think because we're supposed to be complex, sophisticated societies that shit doesn't happen anymore. It happens right in front of you. I know people that are cops and detectives and you know, all in all walks of life, and they say once you know what it looks like, you can never unsee it. And the hardest thing for some of these people is when they're on vacation or in an airport or they're somewhere where they can't exercise their authority and they know what's happening and their hands are tied. Like I've heard stories where people go, you see, you know, someone who's dressed well, an older gentleman or whatever, and then there's a 13-year-old girl. If you guys see someone and they look like they don't match. Because guess what? If I'm with my daughters, you know I'm with my kid. And I mean, obviously not being a pedophile, A, they look like me, but B, you just know if I'm in a three-piece suit and this kid is in dingy clothes and she looks down, she doesn't make eye contact, she doesn't talk, she's afraid of everything. You have to recognize the signs. And I know a lot of us aren't trained, but you need to train yourself. You have no idea who you may save. You have to be able to slip notes to them. Do what you have to do. Because, you know, someone may never see their child again. I'm no more good. At this point, I'm no more good. If my kid would have got snatched, I'd have tried to turn into a damn vigilante. You know how men are. We think we're superheroes anyway. I would have dedicated my life to just taking out people like that. I could not have gone on normally after that. So I can't imagine how other people feel when they come home and find out their kid isn't there or someone has found that child. I can't imagine.
Yes. And while you are getting really passionate right now, CB, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I pretty much agree. You just have to be careful, and people need to really be aware of their surroundings. That's the main thing. If you're aware of your surroundings and, you know, park in a well-lit area and things like that, because sometimes that doesn't even work because they can snatch you in broad daylight, which they have been known to do down here in Arizona. So you just have to be careful.
Yeah,
they don't care about
this young girl, she was at the zoo.
Snatching everybody.
Yeah, she was at the zoo with her little kids. And this guy was walking, and it's crazy because she was really selfieing herself with the guy walking in the background following her. And she went all the way up to security. Security follows her to her car, and she has all this stuff on her car. Like, it's crazy out here. They're not waiting for the sun to go down anymore. So yeah, George, any take on that? Because I know you got some AK-47s over there.
All I got to say, you ever seen the movie Alex Cross?
Yeah, and unfortunately the wrong actor did it, but yes. But the books, yes. Have you seen A Time to Kill? That's what I always reference. A Time to Kill. That movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I think about. But yeah, no.
There it is.
George, if you don't mind, can you cue me up, please? I don't have ice anymore almost. My
Mimi's trying to get right. Can we please let this woman get right? Because I can't stand my girl not being right. Let her get. You know how beige, like, you know how light skinned people are. They impulsive. God damn.
It's Mimi's drink special. Mimi, let them know what you're sipping on.
Okay, guys. Darling, no problem, nothing. Anyway, so check this out, right? So I'm trying something new. Okay, this is called Uptown Wine Cocktails Chocolatini, made with real cream. This bad boy is 13.9%. You know, I already started the bottle, but I got a big one. You know, because
really
to get the biggest one. It's 1.5 liter. I only got the bigger one because that's the only size I saw. So yeah, you guys know how I do stuff. Now my red straw, my ice was melting, which took it up a little bit because I had a bunch of ice in here, just a little bit watery.
That's all right.
But look, this is the thing. This has this kick. It tastes almost like Kahlua, But
Mhm.
we have like, in Puerto Rico, we make something in the Virgin Islands. We make something called coquito. And I don't know if you guys have ever had coquito before, but I'm going to make sure that we all drink it at some point because it's amazing. But this reminds me of it. I see this is one of these drinks where, because I'm lactose intolerant, so I if I dip out in a little bit, you guys know why. But anyway, it does happen. So yeah, so that is really kind of like amazing. And look, this doesn't tell me what you can drink this with, but this is just amazing. And I know that Roger is like the king of, if you're having this type of drink, what you should have. But this is not like one of those dinner drinks, nothing. This is one of these things where you just have by yourself. This ain't no have it with some cake or have it with some linguine or some shit. That's not this type of drink. This is it's in the fridge, drink it.
Sounds like it needs
And there you have it.
I have a counter argument to that. I would drink it with cake. That's a great dessert beverage. But it's a great dessert beverage. But also, listen, when I go on vacation, anybody that knows me knows, in the morning you have yourself a custom-made omelet and things like that. You have to have Bailey's, Kahlua, and coffee. That's how you get your day started, especially if you have a beach nearby. So that right there looks like it would fit right into that whole family of things. So, you guys out there are welcome, because I'm telling you, you're going to love me for it. If you're on vacation, you're on vacation.
Yeah.
Shit's happy hour somewhere.
Yeah, that's what it tastes like. It tastes like Kahlua, like coffee, like it's just really nice. Yeah. I really like it. The aftertaste, not so much afterwards. So, I have to kind of like back it up with a screwdriver.
Oh, Jesus.
It's just the kind of night I'm having.
That might constitute a 12-step program right there, baby.
Look. Hey, first of all, don't judge me if I snatch you. Let me see. Can I snatch you from here? Oh, no, I can't. Oh, no. No time out for you tonight. You're lucky.
Hey, with that combination, she's definitely going to be running.
Oh, my goodness.
Two bathroom, James.
Got to be more careful. My goodness.
And you lactose tolerant too?
No, I'm just saying.
Listen. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm telling you, if you're on vacation, it's worth it.
She's going to be looking like Bart Simpson.
And see, this is why you don't give George toys. This is why you don't give George toys. I keep telling y'all.
Exactly.
I keep telling y'all.
And me too. CB.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. What the hell are you sipping on, girl?
Where we going?
What you sipping on?
I'm not drinking anything. Nothing.
Oh, that's
not tonight. Okay, so Roger, let's go. I know you got something over there.
Shoot, I'm making a hot toddy with all toddy. Actually, I'm a fan of Buffalo Trace, my Kentucky bourbon. Again, been to the distillery. I'm a big fan, so when I can grab some Kentucky bourbon, I do. It's one of the few things good about that state is they make fantastic bourbon and have great distilleries. So I'm just keeping my bourbon neat tonight, people. I mean, I might chase it a little bit, but
Okay.
This is Spike too, by the way.
That's it. So, George? George, I know you got something going on over there.
You already know.
Yeah. Okay, you still working on that bottle?
I'm still working on last week's bottle. Blam, the new Ciroc Passion. Yes, yeah.
That's Ciroc.
That's what it is. That's Ciroc.
All right.
With the Bud Light back.
All right.
With a Bud Light back. Okay, but we doing some things on this show with these damn drinks. But all right. We doing some things.
Our guest should be calling in here shortly. So let's move on to Roger's segment.
I ain't doing nothing.
Fitness.
Oh yeah. Fitness tips with Roger Hawkins.
Hello.
Have to replicate that. George, I'm glad you took care of me. Before we jump into that, well, you know what? I'm gonna jump into that, and then I want to give some shouts out in the sports world. So, G, you got me queued up, and like I said, because I know we got to get that bad boy in. I wanted to talk about kind of working the core today. So for people that don't understand your core, it's really kind of what it sounds like. It's the middle third of your body. So we'll talk about that as we go through. If that's not strong, your posture isn't good. You literally structurally, you're gonna buckle. You know, your spinal column. You know, all of the muscles in your abdominal area, your trap area, your lats, things like that. You have to have those to support all of your extremities. So here are a few core workouts that just a couple of things you can do. You can do these anywhere, and you know, again, you're going to get a nice burn. It's not too strenuous, but it can definitely help work. As you see, I'm in a kind of a push-up position, so you're going to get a little tricep work, but mainly you're going to get the ab work, the lower back, some leg work. Okay, these are called mountain climbers. I know you guys have all seen them.
Okay.
It's good for glutes, and you know, those are kind of like knee up, like burpees. So that's one good setup. These are called plank jacks. Kind of like that, kind of a jumping jack and a plank motion going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of comical, but here's a different angle so you understand. And now like a jumping jack. So you're working your midsection and your core. All right. Lastly, you're doing what I call these are called C-skips and tracks, but they're working the rotators and the hip flexors. Okay. These are followed by what we call trail leg hurdler type drills. And what these also do is work your core, lower abdominals, and your hip flexors. Boom, boom. You know, in and out. You want to lead with your knees, tap the foot down. These are things you can do anywhere. And they seem simple enough, but I promise you, you know, if you do enough sets, you're going to feel that burn. And again, for my ladies, I know oftentimes ladies tell me all the time, I want to work on this. I want to get the midsection. And I understand that, especially if we're a little beyond a certain age or we've had children and things like that, you can always tighten and strengthen your core. Some things, obviously, none of us snaps back the way we do. But if your core is strong, everything else will follow. If you have bad posture, if your lower back is weak, if your abs are weak, you're not going to be able to hold yourself up to do anything else. So core work is very, very critical. Very critical. So we just wanted to get into the core this week. And I promise you, it won't take many of those before you start feeling a burn. And just get your repetitions in. And you can, like I said, you can do that stuff anywhere. Of course, I was on the ground, but if you have to, you can lean on the table or against the wall. You can do just about, these just about anywhere. And then work that, work the numbers and the resistance and all that up. So that's our core workout for the week.
Look, my hip
Get
is
it in,
hurting.
folks. Get it in.
My hip is hurting just looking at that last one.
Hey, Don, let me tell you, my track coach would have a field day with my ass on that one because comparatively speaking, that was not good. I mean, not flexible. I didn't stretch or anything like that. But if you see how it's really supposed to look, anyway, my coach ain't looking, so he'll get over it. But truthfully, the more flexibility you get, you don't understand how flexibility and strength go hand in hand. You see people take, yoga, Pilates, things like that, they go hand in hand. If your muscles can be elongated and flex back and forth, you have more range of motion, you have more speed, technically you have more power and explosion. If you're tight and stiff, you're really fighting yourself, which is why injury occurs when people don't warm up properly, don't stretch, etc. So things like this to get your core and midsection strong they're critical. They're super critical. So that's what we got there. Before we move on, I just wanted to shout out a couple of things. One, for the first time in history, there were 3 women of color, 3 sisters, took first, second, and third in the U.S. Gymnastic Championships. First time ever. So all 3 medals or young black girls. So they are following in Simone Biles, Dominique Dawes. They're following in all these women's footsteps. So they are seeing now that the game has changed, and we are, they're stepping up and representing, and they are, trust me, they were killer. Look it up, read the story if you guys get a chance, because it was just really, really cool to see, giving love to each other, things like that. Now, if they change the rules, like they are prone to do not be surprised, because it's happened before. But what that proves is, we said it all along, no matter what obstacles you put in our path, we are going to either overcome them or break through them. So just big ups to these young ladies, because, that's such a huge, huge deal when you think about how body type used to play a factor, height, and just all of these nonsensical requirements. And now you've got these curvy, explosive, powerful, little compact things out there killing it and doing things that have not really been done on this level, ever. When we look back at when Simone was doing a move that nobody on the planet could do, and they literally penalized her for it because no one could replicate it. And that's not the first time it's happened, but it was. And so I just want to shout them out, because that was pretty incredible. That was pretty incredible what how that happened. So anyway, just a moment of pride, if you will, and shout out to those young ladies, and look that story up if you guys get a chance. So that's sports and fitness for the day.
Definitely. That was good. And definitely, shout out to those women for working hard. Hard work definitely pays off. And that's amazing. So let's give them a hand, guys. Let's give them a hand. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. So we will be back after a word from our sponsor.
We will.
Gotta pay the bills, and then when we return, our sis Christine Walters will be on with us, and then she has an amazing story, guys. You don't want to miss it. So without further ado, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
불타오르네. I'ma make you pump like that. Make you pump like that. Make you pump like that. Make you pump like that.
Hey everybody, let's get together and feel alright with CB and the Boyz radio show. Join us every Wednesday for your midweek motivator, offering you music, conversation, motivation, laughter, and a whole lot of fun. One love. Hey everybody, it's me, CB. Join us every Wednesday for your midweek motivator, offering you conversation, motivation, music, laughter, and a whole lot of fun. So tune in. Let's talk. Join us as we shake things up and talk things out. CB and the Boyz. Join us for your midweek motivation. See ya.
All right. And we are back.
See ya.
We are back. We are back. And in the, all right. So our guest is here. Ms. Christine Walters is on the line. Give me 1 minute. All right. Christine, hi, welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I am so good. We are so honored to have you on our show.
Hello.
Oh, I'm actually honored to be on your show. Thank you.
I'm glad you came in to join us
What's going on,
tonight.
lady? Mm-hmm.
Are you able to hear me okay?
We can,
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Christine is an author. She's written a series of books. The first was a memoir called Jenny and Me, Reflections of What God Can Do. And she also has a nonprofit of the same name, Reflections of What God Can Do. So tell us a little bit about your journey, Christine, and what prompted you to write down your memoirs and these wonderful books, because they are just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, my mom, she's deceased, but she had childhood paranoid schizophrenia, and she grew up in a hospital in Buffalo, New York, from around 5 years old to 26 years old. At the time she stayed there, the hospital was called the Buffalo State Insane Asylum. So she had me at 26, and she met my father there as well. And my father, I was brought up to believe that he was her counselor. So he lost his license from unethically getting involved with the patient. But that actually was not the truth. He was actually there because he was serving 2 life sentences. He was the hitman. And so he served 2 life sentences there. And I guess he was like on a halfway house program. And that's how he actually met her there. So growing up was extremely, let's just say my childhood is much different from most. So I always knew I was going to write my life story, but I couldn't do it until my mom passed away, because she probably would just take it the wrong way because of her severe mental illness. I grew up in a lot of abuse on both from both parents, and just saw a lot of things that children shouldn't see. So when she passed away, December 10th, 2010, I never thought it was going to devastate me as much as it has, but it literally took me out almost. I've heard people talk about the loss of a mother, but for me, I just thought, I wouldn't experience anything like that, because my relationship with my mother was very difficult. And at times, I didn't, I would just be, truthful, there was times I didn't even want her to be my mother. I loved her because she was my mother, but that was just, that was just it. And I hated my childhood. So when she died, it was, I have to say, the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. And I just said, you know what? I just started writing the story, and I wrote it in 2000. It got published actually April 2015, and it did really well. And I wrote it thinking it was going to be more for either women who had difficult relationships with their mom, and just talk to them about mental health. But it really took a turn. It just really took a turn for a lot of different social issues, social causes, I should say. One being race, homelessness, domestic violence, and then also mental illness. So in 2000, I want to say around 2016, I started an LLC called Reflections of What God Can Do. That kind of started an affirmation statement. So I started making some products with it. And then in 2017 is when the nonprofit came to be about. And that's called Reflections of a God Can Do organization. And that actually is because I wanted to help a lot of people who've been broken and wounded from a lot of core issues in life, kind of the extraordinary things that most people, I don't want to say most people, but some people don't deal with. We're giving God all the glory at the end of it because God gets the glory for all that. So the book, Getting Me Reflections of God Could Do, is actually used in some other nonprofit organizations for counseling and domestic violence out in Chicago, in Fort Myers, Florida, even out in Reston, Virginia at a homeless shelter. So I started also doing inspirational speaking with it just to help a lot of people who just have a lot of different core issues. Anything from drugs, but not just like, I'll give you an example. I met one woman and she actually, it wasn't that she didn't know how to stop using. She wanted her heart to be numb, so she drinks hand sanitizer just so she can be numb. Yeah, and so it's kind of deep, some kind of deep issues. And so she had a lot of issues going on, and it's just from a lot of core issues growing up as a child and not really knowing how to deal with it. So that's kind of, and I did write other books, Prayers Gathered Along the Way. It's actually kind of, some fans have said a continuation. I just started picking up where I kind of left off of Jenny and Me a little bit. I had some more adversity, that I just talked about it a little bit and kind of put some letters together that I had already written in a journal, like some prayers, conversations to God, And so I just kind of took some of those out and put it in Prayers Gathered Along the Way. And then I did a second edition to Jenny and Me, added some more things, and then I did collections of poems and prayers.
You need to watch people who fall in.
Wow. You have definitely been through a lot and you're still standing. That is an amazing story. So how do you handle going through something like that? Like, I don't think I could handle something like that.
Well, on the mental health side, I'll just share some things so just probably the audience can kind of understand, like, kind of what going through certain things. I really didn't share anything too much, a little bit about the childhood. So, like, on a daily basis, with me growing up, there was a lot of physical abuse. And then also my mom thinking, like, for instance, she was a bird and she was going to fly out the window. And, as a child watching that, and she really in her mind thought that. And also, like, when she had like different personalities, one would be very evil, one would be like a 5-year-old child. And they just would, all throughout the day, just talking to her, she could be okay one minute and the next very second flick off, as you're trying to understand, what did you do wrong or what is she talking about, like that. So, I mean, one incident I remember, she was upset with my dad and he was driving and she literally like ran after the car, and while the car was going, took her fist and punched it through the window and tried to pull him out. And so she had like she paralyzed part of her arm by doing that, and had like a lot of stitches and stuff like that. But then my dad was really abusive on top of that as well, because of course of his history. So like I physically watched him crack my mom's skull open and mop all the blood up and everything. And for me, like, I remember when the police came, I was hiding in between the kitchen cabinet and like the deep freezer. And I remember when the officers came in, they knocked down the door and they hit my dad over the head with a club and knocked him out. And my mom screaming, in the back, and blood's everywhere all over the floor. And I'm watching the cops, and these two officers, they didn't realize I was there yet, and so they were searching. They didn't care too much about all that. They were searching the house. They found money. They stuck it in their pocket, and then they kind of looked up and they saw me, and then try to lure me out. And I just would say, my mom had a seizure and she fell, because if I told what happened, my mom would damn near kill me. So, it was just, the next day everything was normal again, and she had like staples in her head. So there was a lot of domestic violence in the home, and just a lot of abuse. And then me running away, and just very traumatic. I was in foster care for some time, and then they didn't get me back. But with Reflections of What God Could Do is a lot also to help. It also helps a lot with caregivers of immediate family, people who help with their loved ones with schizophrenia and bipolar. Because it's very hard. It's a hard disease, and also there's a lot of organizations out there for people who have mental illness. There's not as many for the caregiver, for the immediate family. I know, like, a lot of times I'm told, you have to understand that your mother had a mental illness, and I get that. But at the same time, abuse is damaging. And so who's protecting that child? Who's protecting that loved one? Because not all people who have a mental illness, but there are some people that need help while raising a child who has mental illness, because there's a lot of abuse that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's so true.
So, Christine, I have a question. It's a really weird dichotomy that I understand the whole wishing that you could be free of some of the traumatic things that are going on, but still having this intense love for your mother. Why do you think that was the worst thing that could happen to you, your mom passing, and the most traumatic thing that could happen to you, given all of the situations? Was there any guilt involved, or did you feel like because you couldn't quite understand or help, there was no way that you failed her? It's really interesting because having multiple personalities or things of that nature, oftentimes cause us to cleave to one personality and fear another. And like you said, sometimes she'd be one way, and then the next day she'd be quote unquote normal again. So I'm just curious to know what made you feel that immense grief. Some people feel relief, and then some people feel grief. So I'm just asking you, like, what made you kind of choose the avenue that you chose after that happened?
So I always wanted a mother's love. So let me just say that. I didn't realize that until I got a lot older. And I did have some guilt. I had a guilt of, like, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I'm from Fort Myers, Florida. So when I got married in Fort Myers, Florida, we moved out. I'm divorced right now, but at the time when I was married, we moved out here to the D.M.V. area. And, it's like half of me wanted to just escape that. The other half of me, is like, I'm the only child. My father had already passed, who's going to help her? But I did not have a childhood, and I physically, took care of my mother, just in unnormal ways. But at the same time, when she passed, it was just, I thought I was going to feel relief, and I didn't. I felt a lot of guilt. I felt a lot of pain. There was something else that happened when I was a child. I was molested by a relative, and while I was in foster care, and it was never really. It kind of was like pushed underneath the rug. So I had an issue too with my mom because she never did anything about it. But when she passed, I used to be like, oh my God, am I crazy? Am I thinking something? But God brought a lot to light, and I the forgiving the unforgivable kind of really hit them because he wasn't alive so that we could have another discussion about it. And, you know, a question I can't never ask her, you know, was, I know he did do something about it. But I don't know why she never told me that she did. And it was hard already dealing with the mental illness part of it, but it was even harder to know as a child that you know what happened and you didn't do anything. Because, you know, I believe, you know, we're supposed to, you know, we're supposed to be there for our children. We're supposed to protect our kids, you know. So that was not the case. And so when I found out, you know, that she did do something about it, I mean, I was angry because I just understand why she didn't tell me. You know, a lot of my anger with her as well was because of that. And there was a lot of race. My mom's white, my dad's black. He was around 30-some years older than my mom. So, you know, growing up, my mother was just, you know, every day she would call me a bitch. That was like my name. And it's just like, you know, no one wants you because, and no one likes you because white people don't like you, black people don't like you. And so it was just this thing, you know, that she always said to me. Then it was oh, you know, I'm sorry. And that's damaging for a child, you know, definitely to go through that for a child just to hear that consistently, you know. And so there was just a lot of just abuse on all different levels of it. But and I'm pretty sure she didn't want to be that way. But the fact that she was, I'm like, where were these organizations that did not step in to help, you know, maybe help someone who had a severe mental illness, help raise them or help put them in certain classes and stuff like that, you know?
And I get that. Yeah. What's up for you?
One second, Raj. Hey, Christine, we're getting a little feedback. Do you have your computer on?
Oh,
you might want to turn the microphone off on your computer because we're getting a little bit of feedback.
Oh, maybe it's because I have you on speaker here. Let me turn the speaker off.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
There you go. Is that better?
Perfect.
I hear you fine. So yeah, I think we had a really, really good show some months back about some similar situations, because what we all learn is that each one of us has had a particular type of trauma that has helped shape, for lack of a better phrase, shape who we are. And obviously you have one heck of a story to tell. And it's interesting because I think no matter who it is, we all have some type of guilt, even if it's a situation we couldn't help. None of us can help being a child. None of us can help being abused by someone older, stronger, someone we trust. My question to you is, did you feel more anger or guilt after you found out she did something because maybe you felt like you unnecessarily had, you know, ill will towards her, or just like you said, because you couldn't get that other conversation and get clarity? And it's got to be difficult not knowing who you're going to be living with every day you wake up. I can't imagine that. So, I mean, the strength of your resolve is pretty much incredible, considering that you've made it this far, and you're probably helping so many other people using your story. That alone is just, it's amazing, because a lot of people would buckle, fold, and completely shrivel and die. And to persevere through that, considering what you had to witness at an early age with not a lot of help, pretty phenomenal, lady. Pretty phenomenal.
Oh, well, thank you. I did actually. But I curled up on the floor. I mean, I'm transparent, so I'll just be honest. So you know, I did want to give up. And I mean, I wanted to die, actually, to tell you the truth. And I just was like, God, you know, at some point I just can't take no more. When everything else was happening, I was married for 22 years. And then my marriage, everything just fell apart, like it very fast in just a couple months. So we're having all that adversity.
Wait a minute. Let me interrupt. You said you was married for 22 years.
Yes, I was
You
married.
don't look
married for
old
22
enough
years.
to be married for 22 years unless you got married
I
when
know
you
it
was
was
like
coming.
6.
I know it was coming. I know.
I'm just saying.
I know it.
I mean, you've been married half my life. I mean, I'm just saying.
Real talk.
I got married 1 week from being 19 years old. So I got married at 18. I was 1 week from turning 19.
Okay.
And I've been divorced now for 8 years. So, but yeah, so I just bring that up because I always wanted family, you know. So when my mom passed and everything happened, and then my marriage was failing, that was really devastating for me because I just felt like, oh my God, you know, broken family, you know. And then I got into my whole little pity party thing, and just everything was just crashing down on me. And I did curl up and bawl. And then, you know, after I got over the whole pity party thing, and I prayed a lot. Let me just say one thing. So I love the Lord, and I have like always prayed, but when so much hit me all at once, that's when I got on my knees. And I never like got on my knees before and even like talked to God on my knees.
I am so sorry, Mama. Does somebody have on a TV in the background or a radio or something?
No, I don't know.
Not me.
Well, is that Mimi? Is that your computer yelling?
No, my computer's off.
I mean, okay, Mama, go ahead. It stopped. Whatever happened, whatever it was, it stopped. So, okay. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Yeah. So, I wrote a chapter in the book about, you know, when God says no, and just, you know, just having to accept certain things, and you know, you have a plan for your life, and that's just not how it's going to go. We want all, you know, we make all these plans for our life, but then God has something else in store. So when I, you know, got over my pity party, I was like, you know, I'm not going to be stuck. Okay. So, and I'm really big on goals and determination and about, you know, hey, you're going to let's make things happen and we got to move forward because we can't just be stuck. And there's so many things that we all go through at times in our life that could just have us so stuck. Suicide is really high around the holiday time. You know, when my mom died, spent the 10th, and I love the holiday. I love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas, but I love those times because I was married at the time and with my kids and, you know, having family around, you know what I mean? So divorce changes a lot of things, and not having that family like that on my side, you know, I just said, oh God, you know, loneliness comes in, all the grief and everything. And I just wasn't going to allow myself to be like that because that's not what I want for me. And I wanted to help other people too, because just listen to people's stories. I mean, I have gotten so many emails, and, you know, I have to say what amazed me so much is that more men than women have emailed me about a lot of like deep stuff. And they're just like, you know, we just want you to keep this. I want you to keep this confidential, but I heard your story, you know, read your book, and, you know, it's helped me. And I am so amazed at that. But then again, I shouldn't be, because the way society is, you know, when women are abused, when women go through things, when it's like, it's, oh, you know, everyone's trying to listen and hear about it. But when a man goes through something, you know, society is really rough
taboo.
with men. It's
taboo.
like a man's not supposed to cry.
Yeah.
Especially if a man is sexually abused. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Man up. Yep, man up.
I mean,
feet up. Yes.
Yeah. And
we can't have feelings.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of crazy in today's society. Man can't have those kind of problems. They're supposed to not have to deal with those type of problems. They're supposed to man up and not show it and push through it. Yeah, that part.
And that is really bad, because at the end of the day, then us women pay the price for it, because now they're holding on to all this stuff. It becomes this anger, and the minute a woman does something to them, they fire off. And I'm going to say that because my brother, may he rest in peace, he had actually gone through some stuff, and we all did when we were young. Like my story is very similar to hers. It's crazy because it's almost like even when Crystal told me about it and I went into the book and I started I started reading some stuff and I went into the website and I was like, wow, like her life is like mine. Like this is really, really strange, you know, but my brother actually went through that and he just didn't know how to interact with women. Stuff became crazy. And it's crazy because when he committed suicide in 2016, and I personally went through like a lot of his journal stuff and a lot of stuff that he wrote. And I was just like, we did not know how deep this thing was. It's like everyone thought that the things that were happening were only happening to me as a child, but it was also happening to my brother. So it was just this crazy thing where they never talked about it. But, you know, when I became of age, because there's certain things like even today, my mom is still with us. She's 73. She goes through a lot of stuff mentally, you know, and I am right there. Like I'm the only one that really kind of like deals with her on a daily basis. And, you know, I talk to Crystal a lot about it because, you know, I have to bounce back and forth with somebody or else I'll probably lose it. But, you know, it's that tug and war thing. It's a tug and war. And it's like certain things you want to say and certain things you can't say because you don't want to hurt the feelings and you don't want to this and you don't want to push a button. So I totally understand. Like I'm just sitting here listening to your story and I'm just like, she's just taking me back to when I was little, to when I wanted to run away, but I couldn't run away. Wow. You know, like I attempted, you know, to go out late one time and she had the police come out because she just thought that I just went and told the whole world. And I'm just like, you know what? Like the secret is the secret. Like whatever happens at home, it's like Vegas. What happens at home stays at home. But when I got out of that house, honey, I went on a rampage. And now like today, like if I go home to visit, oh, it's on fire. It's like, okay, where's she staying? Who's get together is she going to? Because she's going to say some shit out her mouth. And I'm that one that don't have a problem telling. Because at the end of the day, you're still dealing with people that did stuff back then that are still doing stuff today. You know, and you got to tell it. So that you know, you can stop it. You have to be able to stop it. So I just have to say, look, I'm going to say from right now, congratulations on just making it from day to day. Because I always tell, you know, like I talk to Crystal, I talk to my brothers all the time. It's a daily thing for us. Like we have to get up early, pray for ourselves, deal with ourselves. Because if we don't, you know, we could snap. You know, I look at stuff on TV. It still bothers me a lot. You know, I attempted the whole counseling thing. My counselor said some stuff that I was like, you know what, maybe counseling is not for me. You know, so I just really kind of like, you know, self-detox every day into God and just talk to the universe and get my day going and, you know, do what I know to do. You know, just do what I, you know, motivate myself and get motivation from others because we are not alone in this. You know, sometimes you talk to people that you think that is all together. And when they tell their stories, you're sitting back like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, and from the look of it, you know, I could look at the pictures and say to myself, wow, she looks like she got it all together. And then you read your story and you go, whoa, she came from this. Wait a minute. So congratulations to my sister.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
well, you know,
for every day that you have to go through.
When you know, it's hard with counseling. I'm for counseling, and I've done counseling, and some of it's helped me, some of it has not. You know, what I did for me, I was just so broken, okay, that I said, you know what, I had to write affirmations and scriptures on little sticky notes and on papers, and I had pasted those things all throughout my house. I mean, I had it in the bathroom, I had it in the living room, and people who are really close to me, if they come over, they're like, oh my God, you know, what's going on with you, Chris? And I'm like, you know, I have to see that in my face. I have to see, you know, it was August 2011, and I'll never forget this. God has said, one of my close friends, I was like, there was no way in the world she would have known this. I was so broken. I was laying on my couch and I was crying. And I literally cried so much, I busted the vessel in my upper eye. I had went through like 2 boxes of tissues all in one day. And I'm crying and, you know, I wouldn't answer my phone, anything. And so she texted me and she said, God told me to tell you something. Please don't think I'm crazy or anything, And she didn't know what I was going through at the time. And so I had said this prayer to God, and I was like, I'm about to just die. I just cannot take it anymore, And I call her and she said, God told me to tell you, don't be afraid. What he has in store for you is better than what you want for you. And I was like, there's no way, like, it's impossible for her to know what I had prayed and what I had said. And like, that was my answer. So, and I was like, well, why God, can you talk to me? I probably was too wounded. I couldn't hear, Right. And I wrote that. On a piece of paper, made copies of it. And every time I would come into my house, or I needed to be able to just look up just to see, okay, God loves me. Okay, keep it going. Don't be afraid. What I have in store for you. I needed that. And I did that for like, I don't know, like maybe 2 years. It was probably like 2 years before I started taking the stuff down from the wall where I didn't need it. And I say that because sometimes you have to figure out what works for you and forget what people say and what people are talking about. Like everyone has talked about me, and I don't even care. I'm that person. I'll be in my car and I'm talking to God. I don't even care if you're looking over me looking like I'm crazy, because I'm like, I am so like passive. What someone has to say about me and I don't even care. I'm focused on Christine and my well-being and, being healthy and making it day by day, and how, what God wants me to do and how I can help someone else. So I say that because
Christine, I got a question.
Sometimes counselor work and sometimes you can't talk to a counselor about everything. You got to talk to the Lord. That's right.
So would it be safe to say that you are a believer and living proof that which doesn't kill you make you stronger?
Repeat that for me again. I'm sorry.
I said, would it be safe to say that you are a believer and living proof that doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. And that's what what God can do. That God changed my life. I was like, I'm not, people who know me like years, maybe 20 some years ago, I'm not who I used to be, and definitely has changed me. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love it.
Well, speaking of counseling, we do have a in-house counselor. Her name is Michelle Bracco, and she sends us videos each show. And so, if you don't mind, Christine, we're going to. It kind of definitely coincides with what we're talking about, especially the mental health part. And that's one of our topics tonight is like a mental health check. So here is Michelle Bracco and the mental health check.
Good evening, everyone. Counselor Michelle Bracco here. And our topic is mental health check. Now, everybody's familiar with doing an annual physical checkup, school checkups. We have no problem with going to make sure that our physical bodies are good to go. But people don't understand, or maybe don't have to realize that your mental health can have a large effect on your physical health. And so therefore, besides just doing the physical health check, we need to do a mental health check. What exactly does that involve? Mental health check can be anywhere from just routinely doing a self-care day. Oftentimes people hear self-care, they think of women doing a bubble bath or getting their hair and their feet and their nails done, things like that. That can be self-care. But men can also do self-care by taking time out in so much as playing a video game, hanging out with the guys, going to see a game, watching the game. Or they can go and get their feet and their nails done. Pedicures is more than okay for men to do as well. It's all about showing yourself love. And there's no limit or right or wrong answer to how you do that. Also, there are avenues. There are numerous amount of apps. There's resources for counselors like me. There's life coaches. There are even psychiatrists. And although I believe that our insurance, health insurance is not up to par like it should be, because they do unfortunately limit sessions, there is the aspect of being able to go and seek mental health counselors and psychiatrists that can help alleviate some of the issue. Now, a lot of times, just like physical health, mental health cannot be cured, especially if there's aspects of something that a person can't control, i.e., if it's a chemical imbalance or it's something out of a person's control. The most that we can do is sometimes medicate or find avenues or ways to cope with what we're dealing with. Just like with any kind of physical ailment. There are some attributes where you can be taken care of completely, and then there's some attributes where it's more of just learning how to deal with the cards that you're being dealt with. Another aspect, not just with ourselves, but is with our friends and family. If you notice a person is pulling away, or if they're isolating, or if they're just acting different, check up on them. If you haven't heard from somebody in a while and they cross your mind, it could be for a reason. So take that extra little initiative and reach out. See how they're doing. The inner person inside of us, the inner sense of initiative can be very strong, and if a person crosses your mind, it's usually an indicator that there's a reason for that. We need to often listen to ourselves. Anxiety and depression is very rapid and rampant in the world today. From the pandemic, we've seen how much it really can affect someone. And stress-related diseases can even lead to serious physical ailments like Cushing's disease. I know of this personally because I do actually have that. And I developed it more so from the military because I was injured in the military. And Cushing's disease is where there's too much cortisol in your system. And this is a stress-related chemical balance, or imbalance, I should say. If there's too much cortisol in your system, it can actually develop a tumor. When they say stress kills, believe it. I endured multiple brain surgeries because a tumor developed from being stressed, from being in pain, because my physical ailments created a mental ailment that my body took and developed a disease from. It is actually possible. And so the takeaway from this is you need to do mental health checks just as much as you do physical health checks, because the mental health and the physical health go hand in hand.
All right, and that was Counselor Michelle Bracco with her take on the mental health check. Christine, would you agree with what she was saying?
Yes, I do. And even to add some to it, I think another thing that we should do for mental health for ourselves is really evaluate a lot of what we're taking in on a daily basis. For me, I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I used to years ago, and I purposely don't. I try to make sure I listen to the news once or twice a week, because a lot of things, everything that's going on in our world right now, so much is going on. Just missing out one day is a lot, but it's stressful. You listen to the news, you listen to everything that's happening. It's very stressful. It's hard to go to sleep and have all that on your mind. Another thing is surrounding yourself around the right people.
Yes.
And, because that's very important. And also not taking on more than what you're able to take on. One thing, my phone is always ringing. It's consistently ringing. I consistently got the notifications. I turn them off. I won't answer my phone at a certain time. I mean, if it's an extreme emergency, people close to me, they don't have to get in touch with me. I'm just not answering. I mean, it's not. I mean, because it's just too much stress, and then you get very overwhelmed with a lot of other people's stuff versus your own stuff you have going on. So you have to learn how to balance it too.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think you're 100% right. People are so overstimulated, they don't realize it, that, like you said, they can't sleep. Their brains never shut off. They're too busy worried about who's reaching out, how many contacts they have, how many followers. They cannot shut down. And so I think what you're saying is 100% important in terms of not tuning in. Don't be on the TV. You have to take time out for yourself.
Quit talking about me.
Yeah. What's up? I know George is whack, but it's funny, but you're telling the absolute truth. I think what's interesting is that you're right. If you're actually living life, you don't have time to watch and report and take pictures and comment on other people doing what they're doing. I think you realize at this point you clearly know what your purpose is now. I'm going to assume after all this time you didn't before, now you do. You realize the impact you have on people and that you are needed. And that's a huge contrast from when you were younger and you were made to feel like nothing, less than nothing, because you didn't belong anywhere. And now here people are reaching out to you going, I need you to help me get through the next day. It's kind of a weird little it's an interesting turn of events, isn't it? But
it's an interesting spin on life. That's what it is. Interesting spin on life.
Yeah. But you recognize
I started appreciating me and loving myself and learning how to love myself. And that's what a lot changed me. And God was a big help with that, because
go ahead.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell our fans, is that true love starts with loving yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, then you really have no way of truly loving someone else if you don't love yourself. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Of course. And it's a very, very hard place to get to when you are growing up being told the bullshit. You'll never amount to anything. You keep listening to your father telling you this, if you won't be shit, la, la, la. You're going to be just like me. You'll be popping pills. You'll be this, you'll be that, you'll be this. And I'm like, the devil is a liar. Like, when I was put out, and of course I was put out after graduation, I was like, lady, I'm never going to be like you. But, I had to make a U-turn years later. And it's like, it's a couple of things that's going to happen here, lady. Because you are my mother, but check this out. You're going to go back to school. You're going to get some self-worth into you, because I will cut you off, because that's where I'm at. Like, I am at this place now where I'm going to have to either cut you, off, or you're going to just work with me. And she went back to school. She graduated in 2010. You almost can't tell her nothing today, because now she's like on a different, actually the tables turned around is really what happened. So now I have the control. Like, I control the conversation. I talk for as long as I want to talk. And when I'm ready, it's like, Ma, look, I love you. I got to go. I'll talk to you later. Bye. And she takes forever to say bye. And I will just hang up. Click. Like, it's that type of thing. And it has to be that way, or else I will be drained. So instead, because I know what's coming, I nip it. I nip it in the bud, and I nip it real quick. So, and there's a lot of people that have not been able to do that. It's like they cut the parents off from, like, teenage because it's been so toxic, and then they don't reverse back to that. Okay, let me go back and share her because at the end of the day, she's still the lady that brought me into this world, no matter how crazy she is. But let me show her how crazy looks, so she can see what it feels like, so she can be like, oh wow, I did that. And it's crazy because today we have like little conversations here and there of the things that she did or what she put us through. A lot of stuff she remembers, a lot of stuff she doesn't. And today she's just like, oh my God, I didn't know, and I'm so sorry, because she is no longer taking the 25 medications that she used to have in her nightstand and all these things that she was told that she had. You know, maybe she still has a hint of these things, but because I'm the one who's in control now, like I control all of the conversations. Like Crystal will tell you, I call Crystal and be like, ah! You know, we have to have a detox point. Like Crystal is my detox. You know, like I'm hers. You know, like we'll call each other. We'll be like, "This is what happened." You know, but you gotta have, you gotta, you know, be able to get to that point with somebody where you can detox or you can lose it. You know, but you know, Crystal, I absolutely love you, and I thank you so much for being there. But yes, Christine, I have to give it to you because this is just amazing. This is amazing. It's amazing to just listen to you because, you know, it tells me that I'm not alone. on a constant daily basis, I'm not alone. And I totally feel it when you say, you know, you don't watch TV all the time. Like I'll go all day without watching TV, weeks without watching TV. I've gone years without watching TV. And I always say it wasn't until I came to the United States from the Caribbean islands that I didn't have gray hair. My gray hair came in like when I started watching Fox 5 News.
That came from your choice of people. What's funny is Mimi and I both say the same thing. We don't watch a lot of TV yet. We both are actors. how strange is that? But,
yeah, I've done a lot of movies.
But if you live in life, you don't have to talk about it. Yeah, you don't have to
exactly.
You know, print it and snap it and all that because we're too busy doing it. So I think that's pretty interesting. If you're doing it, you shouldn't be watching someone else do it. So yeah, I say the same thing to Christine when it comes to now she doesn't have to sit idly by and say, why is life happening to me? You found your purpose, which is amazing because a lot of people go their whole life and do not know what their purpose is. I mean, you definitely, you know, you treaded the water and came the hard road, but I think you found your purpose and now you know you have a lot of worth and value. So I'm glad you made it this far without, you know, doing the things you thought about. And,
you know,
showing out, you know, you've got fans in us.
You know, Christine, you gotta look at it like this. Had you not went through what you went through, you wouldn't be who you are today.
That's true. That's true. I think I went through a lot. I feel we all have a purpose. We all have a purpose here on our field. And I definitely feel like, you know, a lot of the topics that have come my way have been something I've dealt with myself, and it's been able to help someone, you know. But I want to say this, I am still human. And, you know, I say that because I still have my moments. It's hard. You know, when let me backtrack and say this first. When I went back and I said about making sure, you know, you surround yourself with the right people. I mean, that's like a common statement, right? And so like you hear that all the time. But I mean really with some root people because I'm human. So like I know what my purpose is, right? But I still have sometimes meltdowns, you know, and society looks at you like, oh, you need to be, you know, helping someone, so you got to be careful what you say, what you do. And it's like, I'm still human. So maybe if my mom's birthday's coming up or maybe something's coming, you know, I might have like, oh, you know, might be sad for a moment. But it's important to have your root people because everyone don't have some people. You're blessed if you have a root person in your life.
Sure.
And you can call him or her and they are listening to you. They're going to pray for you. You know, they're going to tell you the right thing, you know, give you encouragement, true encouragement, you know, and so you need to have the right people in your ear as well. You don't have a whole lot of them. So you find who that one or two people are, you know, so that they're not looking at you any type of way. You know, that they're a true, genuine friend. Those are the ones you need to have in your corner a lot. You know, to kind of steer you the right way. So that's very important. And another thing is mental illness is so hard because a lot of times, you know, you can talk to someone and they don't really have that understanding of what you went through as a kid because they didn't have a parent who had mental illness. You know, so if you're in a group of people and they experience similar things, they can understand. But when you say like cutting a parent off, people are like, oh my God, you know, and it's like, oh God, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what I've been through. It's not, no one wants to cut their parent off, you know, but then it's like it just takes you out sometimes, you know, mentally. I had gotten to the point where my mom, I had was like, oh my God, I said, I don't think I was ever going to have anything else to do with her. I was just crying about it, talking to the Lord. I was like, I cannot take it with her. And, you know, it was about a year after that, then that's when she started declining and she, you know, she got sick and she passed away. And I wasn't happy that she passed away. So I don't want to make it sound like that. But I think at times, you know, God knows what you can handle in all of us. You know what I mean? And I don't. We actually made amends. I was with her next to her bedside when she passed away, and you know, I asked her to forgive me for anything I've done or said to hurt her, and she asked me to. We communicated by her ankle because we couldn't speak, so we were like, you know, one shake for yes, two for no thing. So you know, and I was thankful that I had that with her. But it's very difficult, and especially it's so rare with my mom's story. So she had childhood paranoid schizophrenia with multiple personality disorders. So that's extremely rare. You don't usually have multiple personality disorders with schizophrenia. So she had a lot of testing done on her. I've been tested. I don't carry the chromosome. My children have 4 adult kids. They do not carry it. And that is a blessing. Anyone that's kind of like does research or a psychiatrist kind of would tell you it kind of skips the generation. And so I know I've been told, I talked to one of the researchers that did studies on my mom, and he was like, his name was Dr. Wong. He was just like, you know, do you realize, you know, the portions that you do not, you know, carry this chromosome, and neither do my children. So that definitely is a blessing. But she, you know, just to say that it was very, her adrenaline when she got upset, I mean, it was like something you would see on TV. Like she could throw 4 people at one time across the room, you know, so it was, yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think like it's really interesting to hear. I'm sorry, it's so interesting to hear you say that because my mom went through some episodes of that, but she would mask it by taking all these pills. Like she really had her downtime of, I'm going into my room and I'll see you guys later. And she would go in her room and she would pop these pills and she would be gone until the next day. Like we would be banging off her door and, you know, it's like we don't know what's going to happen. But it was just really weird because we were always ready for maybe she's not going to wake up tomorrow. Party. It was weird. But when you grow up with that type of thing and that constant verbal and physical abuse and all that stuff, like you said, you never know who you're going to get when you wake up the next day. It's like, damn, is it going to be the good mommy, the bad mommy, which mommy is it going to be? Right. And you just have to ride that out. And you just have to know how to deal with it until you get out on your own. And it's like, I pray, Father God, that this thing does not follow me because I do not need it for me. I do not need it for my kids. La, la, la. And there's just this constant prayer, this constant thing, this constant want for something better for ourselves, you know, or to be better parents to our kids and stop the nonsense right where we left. Because that's really what it's about. It's about not continuing the thing and passing it on to our kids or even allowing our kids to see that ugly thing. It's like, look, grandma was a little bit sick, but guess what? She's probably better today. Let's just go in this one day at a time. you know. So yeah, no, I totally get it. Like I really have to put my mom a date every single day. Like sometimes she would call me, la, 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 and I'd be like, up, lady, tone it down, because I will click, I will hang up the phone, you know, and bring her back to, you know, but I'm thanking God that she listens to me now, you know, like now it's like, you don't have that upper hand. I have the upper hand, you know, and until the day you go out, this is how we're going to be. And it's a daily thing every day, but I have the remote control now. But I have to give it to you. I have to give it to you, sir.
Can I ask you a question? Yes. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever asked your mother how her childhood was? And I ask that because a lot of times, you know, I think it's very important to ask someone why their behavior is the way it is, because sometimes that's the core issue I'm talking about. You know, like sometimes we don't realize why people do what they do. We look at what they do, and we don't want to talk a lot about the why they do what they do.
Right.
You know?
And it's really interesting that you ask that, because we talk a lot, and every now and then she allows herself to tell a little bit more of her history. So she comes from an abusive background. Like it goes way, way back into our family. So my father was abusive as a result of her being abusive towards him. So they had craziness going on, and she just kept it up, and it just became this ugly, ongoing thing. But yes, she was abused. I have an aunt that was abused. Cousins were abused. Uncles were all abused. So they come from that abusive thing, and they brought it into our generation. But then I had to nip it in my generation, because I was like, this shit is not going to continue. I'm sorry, the devil is a liar. And I had this thing with my brothers. I was like, look, if I even think that you guys have done something to my nieces, I am personally coming after your head. Like it was just that type of thing. So yes, we do talk about it all the time, and yeah, it did come from her abusive background as well. That was just math. You know, so when she had kids, it's like she didn't even know what to do, because now it's just this, the ball is rolling. You know, she never got herself taken care of, so she just passed it on. She passed on what she knew. So yeah.
Right. And you know, a lot of times it's like, it takes somebody to stand up to break a generational curse. And it's hard. And you might not break all the generational curses in your family. We all have something in our families, you know, but it takes somebody to stand up to do it. And it's always when someone stands up to do it, then they're looked at like, you know, they're the problem.
Look,
you know?
And let me tell you something. See how you feel? See how you feel when you say, I don't care how folks look at me? I am the one in my family that don't give a rat's ass. And I'm telling you now, my family members, my younger cousins, my nieces, they know. If you tell me...
But it takes a while to get there. It takes a while to get there.
Of course.
You have to have confidence. You have to be fearless. Yeah, and so usually it's obviously well into adulthood. So that's just it. So if you make it, you're gonna make it. But you got to get there. So that's why I think we have, we take our hats off.
Yeah. And another thing,
do you travel?
Do I travel? Yeah.
As far as telling your story, I know you're obviously you're an author and things like that. Do you travel? Do you take your story
motivational
on the road? I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine you do.
Yes, I do.
Because obviously there are more people that have things in common with you than you believe. And I only say that to say you're not alone. And it's sad but true. Again, when you're talking to me now, and we everybody has a story, but you definitely are in company, and so it's kind of it strengthens you. It shores you up a little bit to know, you know what, I'm not alone. Therefore, I'm not this weird, anomaly, this strange unicorn that's gone through it, and that gives you an unusual type of strength from the background, knowing that my story isn't so unique that people are going to look at me weird. I can share it, and I can help and maybe save. So just curious to know that if you did that kind of thing, I'm sure you do.
I do. But see, going back onto like when I do inspirational speaking, I do like to talk about core issues because to be surprised what people are really keeping in and holding in, and that's the issue that needs to be fixed. And so if we don't fix ourselves, if we don't deal with that core issue, that secret that we don't want to talk about with anybody, you as a person might not realize that you're doing it, but it's like you're bringing it out on everyone else, but you might not realize it because we want to be numb from the pain. And when you sleep, a lot of times when you had trauma, that trauma, sometimes you have terror dreams, you're haunted almost by the trauma. You're not even thinking of it, and your mind goes to another place when you're trying to relax. So a lot of times people who, do a lot of hardcore drugs, it's not like they don't know how to get off and stop getting high. Yeah, some of it is that they want to be numb, but what's making you want to be numb? You need to deal with that. Yeah, because you don't deal with it, it just lingers on and on and on. So, trying to get to that core issue.
So I agree with that because, in some aspect or in some, small way, everybody has problems, and where there would be stress, anxiety, not loving yourself. I mean, there are underlying core problems as far as why that is. But the incredible thing is how we handle those things. Like, I was kind of raised more like in a Southern family. My grandma was from Arkansas. And her thing was, what happens at home stays at home. You don't tell our business. And that's how our family has always been. You don't tell your business. And I think a lot of people fall into that, mindset because, especially being in a Black household, you don't tell your business. They don't want your business in the street. It's something my grandmother used to say, don't put your business in the street. But my thing is, how can you get the help that you need if you don't voice what the problem is or open up and talk to someone about what the problem is? Like my grandfather always said, a closed mouth never gets fed. And my dad used to say that too. And I mean, it is so true. So why do you think that within the Black community, we don't get help? Why do you think that is the thing?
Well, one incident, fear of, so if you want to go get help and you need to tell the truth, but sometimes telling the truth can get the kids taken away. Sometimes telling the truth can, can put you in more harm than not. And so if you're in counseling or you're trying to, get help and you go ahead and you feel fearful, but I'm not going to, say really what's up and what's going on because I don't want A, B, and C to happen. You're going to lie. You're not going to tell the truth. If you're not telling the truth, then again, how you back to square one? How are you going to get any help? For instance, I was speaking to about this 70 women out in Hagerstown, Maryland, and it was a rehab center. And I shared, so in the book, when I first wrote Jenny and Me, it was about 320 pages. I purposely gutted it down for a 2-hour read so I can talk about certain things that people would question in the book. So one of the things I had brought up was this topic right here that we're talking about. And I this is transparent, and I shared a story about I have 3 sons and a daughter, and I'll share it with you to help you understand what I mean. It was difficult for me, like because of what happened to me. It was very difficult for me to change my kids' diapers. I was like, oh my God, Now they never did. My kids never did anything to me or anything. It was just but what happened to me as a kid, it was very difficult for me. And I didn't like to be touched. Okay. And so I have 3 sons now and a daughter. And being married, like, I didn't really share that with my husband. If he touched me, I was fine. If my daughter touched me, I was fine. But like if my son's just 2, 3 years old, they just put their finger on my hand, I would like freak out. I wouldn't tell them; they're my kids, right? So I'm like, if I'm in counseling and a young lady who I was talking to at the center, she stood up and she started crying and she brought this up. She said she's dealing with this right now. Where how I got over that is I forced myself to go up to my kids at nighttime when I read them a story before they went to bed and everything. I would kiss my sons on the forehead. I did this for this is a mental thing. So for me, I'm like, shouldn't you do that already? But it's like for me, I was praying about it and I was trying to break this thing of I shouldn't feel this way. Because if I don't do anything about it, then I'm not going to hug my children. They're going to grow up, they're not going to want to hug, or they're going to have all these other things going on. I'm like, I have to break this. So after I got over it, I was fine. But when I shared this with the group, this one lady stood up, she was crying, and she was like, oh my God, I cannot tell my counselor this because I'm afraid that if I tell my counselor that this is my child, when she gets too close to me, I literally got to scoot away from her or kick her. I don't kick her, but I feel like it because she was raped by her brothers. She's going to get CPS called on her and get her kids taken away. Now, she may get CPS called on her. That is true because, if you're working in a line of business, you do have to jot down that information and, a CPS call could get made, even if you were being abusive, but it's then it's neglect with the child, someone's going to come in and they need to examine that, so that's why I was saying something like that. So she asked me, what did I do to not feel that way? And so that was my technique. I prayed about it and I'm like, God, I love my children. I don't want to be someone who I'm not affectionate with my kids, so that's what works for me. And that's what I mean. Sometimes we have to find a technique that works for a healthy technique that works for us. Because, that in society, that's what does happen. You tell the truth. I know as a kid, there was an incident. I would always run away. The police would call, bring me back. I mean, it was just, I would run away even from foster care. Mr. Noble was my caseworker. And when I had home visits on the weekend, I would run out the car and run away and be gone for hours just going for home visits and then run away when they found me going back to foster care. So, I don't know. I just wanted to just be free, I guess. I would just always have this thing where I needed to run away. And so, talking, I remember I would get hospitalized one time because I ran away and I hurt myself. And I remember when the nurse came in, I was saying to a nurse, oh my God, I just opened up and I told her what was going on at home. And I said, please, oh my God, my mom's going to kill me if you tell her. Oh, I trusted in her. She said, oh, I wouldn't. Next thing you know, here's the police and CPS and everything down the hallway. And my mom, I could hear her yelling and cursing down the hallway and that I'm a liar and stuff, And I was so afraid of what would happen to me when they came and asked me in front of her. Of course, I was like, oh, no, I was just making it up and stuff, And then I looked at that as okay, here it is. I needed help. And I'm confiding in an adult. But it made the situation worse. And she beat me bad, when we got home about it. But what was happening was a lot of abuse. Not just you hear people say, oh, some people don't believe in spankings and they get oh, I feel like I'm abused. No, I'm talking about blood cut, a lot of abuse, So I get it. For me, I understand when someone doesn't want to speak the whole truth because they don't know what's going to happen. For me, I said, well, I'm going to talk to God about it because, I read my Bible. I'm going to talk to the Lord about it and figure out how to do certain things for myself and motivate myself and use those techniques I can use for me to help my situation and better me, because so I do get that. And there's no use of going to counseling if you're not going to be honest with yourself and tell the whole thing, because you're leaving stuff in you. But then it's like risky. And I know I could get a bad rep for saying all that right now with counseling and stuff like that. I'm not against counseling. I'm just being honest right now about, some real things that, people go through some things, and you want to tell the counselor to get help, but that does open up some doors of consequences for you.
Yeah, it's definitely, Christine, it's definitely not for everyone. I know that in the Virgin Islands it's way different than it is here, because in the Virgin Islands, because the communities are so close knit, if you go to a counselor, it's really not getting out, and they're not going to send DFACS or, child protective services to your house. There's not a whole lot of welfare checks back in the islands, because you get the whole community, the communities get involved. It's like the whole village raises a child thing in the islands does exist still till today. So it's way different back home than it is here in the States. You go to a counselor, you tell the counselor something, and the counselor asks the question, because they always ask the question. Well, do you feel like you can hurt yourself or hurt someone else? And the minute you say yes, honey,
you're put on a 96.
Target of targets. So it's really bad. Like, for me, I don't find that would have been something for me, because I would be like the one that would say, well, yeah, sometimes I just feel like I just want to, AK-47 some folks, but, and then, of course, and I could never go there. So it's like, you know what, I can't talk to a counselor, because you can't be real with the counselor. For one, there's a lot of counselors out here who have never experienced the things that we have experienced. So it's like, how do you talk to someone who's never been there, and you're going to just listen to them saying, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put you on this program. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to talk to somebody that said, hey, look, I've been there. I've done that. This is how I handled it. Let's take you through this because I did that. Or, let it be somebody that's been through what I've been through, so I could more respect this individual than it just be somebody that's never been through anything at all, came from the perfect home with mommy and daddy, and went through college and got their little degree, and now they're going to sit behind a desk and tell me how to do things. No, that's not working for me. So, so yeah, no, I totally get it. And you know what? That's still happening today. That's why a lot of people don't go to counselors. They don't make that phone call, because they don't want to have their kids dragged from home, but they rather stay in the home and either put the kids through stuff, or the kids be in a position where they're going through stuff because they don't want to call DFACS on their parents. So the cycle just it continues in a different type of way, but it still continues, and it's so ugly.
Right, it's true.
Crystal, say something, Mama. You're over there like you want to blow up.
No, I mean, I'm just taking it all in, because it's a lot to consider. And just, with the way the world is right now, there's more mentally ill just walking around the streets rather than in facilities getting the help that they need. I think they all moved to Arizona, because I see it on a daily basis. And it's really sad. I mean, it's really sad.
For real. They all moved to Arizona.
Right.
Well, too, when you have, and I just know this because, like, with my mom, she was on like really the 3 medications that they hardly don't even give out today. But one thing with mental illness too, if someone has mental illness and they are prescribed medication, they need to stay on it and not do this where, okay, I'm feeling better now, I don't need this. This ain't working. Because then, it can take, you're going to feel okay, and it could take maybe 6 months, and then you're going to have a relapse. You can be on medicine and still have a relapse, but you need to have you need that support for someone to keep, make sure you're on your, and when I say support, I don't mean going to your follow-up doctor's appointment. You should have like a support person to really kind of help you and, make sure you're on your medication, make sure they're seeing different jotting down like if something's changing with you, you can get some help. Because when you have a mental illness, a lot of times that person's already thinking, hey, you know what? Everyone's thinking I'm crazy. Everyone's already looking at me some type of way, So they need a lot of encouragement and stuff too. And a lot of people who are homeless, yes, they do have, there's a high percentage of homeless people, not all, but a high percentage that do have mental illness. A lot of times, though, it's because they need to be on medication.
Oh, let me tell you something about homeless people. The happiest people I've ever seen in my life are homeless people. I'm for real. Wow. I'm for real. Think about it. They be on the street corner like, I'm just saying.
They don't have to pay taxes.
Wow. There's a lot to be said. You know what?
I've never seen a mad homeless person. They always happy, and they're happy to see you.
Well, look, I'm going to be the very, very first one to say this. Christine, it has been an honor to have you on the show. I'm going to say that from a sisterly, I've been there, done that type situation, even though your situation is far more. So I just have to give it to you on everything that you do. I will definitely follow you
for sure.
And stay in touch. So thank you so much. It's an honor. And all I can do is moving forward with this is just pray for us because that's what we do.
Yes. I love this conversation and thank you so much for having me on the show. You're welcome.
No, definitely keep going, keep doing what you do. Like I said, you found, strength in a lot of different places, and you're now utilizing, you've refound your voice and using it to definitely bring other people out of that dark place. So by all means, I think you definitely have quickly earned all of our respect and admiration. So keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, Mimi's 100% right. We're going to keep up with you. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Christine, if our fans wanted to know more about you, how can they follow you? And go ahead and list your social media platforms.
Sure. So it's author ChristineWalters.com is my website, and reflectionsofwhatgodcando.org. My social media name is Author Walters. And so if you look up Author Christine Walters, you see my books, my website. You can even get to my nonprofit organization page from my website, Author Christine Walters.
Awesome.
Did you say authorchristinewalters.com?
Yes. I'm on all the platforms. And
that's it.
You send me an email. Author Christine Walters @gmail.com.
Cool beans.
Yeah, you gotta fix that, G.
What I do?
We got it.
Author Christine Walters.
She said at gmail.com. At gmail.com.
That's her email.
Mm-hmm.
But she got a website.
That's my email.
At authorchristinewalters.com.
Oh yeah, we got the website.
That's her website.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we were posted
and
it
I just
on
did
our
a
video.
screenshot. You know what I'm about to do? I'm going to repost this. It's a repost moment.
Right.
So y'all already know how I do.
All right, guys. So it is time for a music break. And Christine, this song is dedicated to you because you are such a beautiful, beautiful person, and we have enjoyed having you tremendously. So here is Mary J. Blige and Beautiful. This is for you.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Hey. Damn.
life. You came and brought my life back to me, 'cause I was dying deep inside. So you brought my life. And my heart was so dark, you took the fight. And you made it so wrong, I really love you. No other love can back you up. So the love that you give to me, and with no this love comes from. Yeah. I open up my arms to squeeze you with unconditional love. And the sweetest tea that helps me see my problems all behind. Baby, come to me, you know that I won't set you free. Come sit for me and it's serious to you and me. Let me take you to understanding when I'm close to self-belief and self-understanding. So beautiful. For me, she came into my life.
came to my life. Thank you came to my life.
Thank you. That's too much.
You're very much.
That song was like 20 minutes long.
You really enjoyed this.
That's my jam. That shit took me back. CB, you did it right. I don't give a damn what they talking about. Took me back to 97 and shit. That's my joint. Girl, I almost shed a tear for a minute. I was up here like this for a second. I was like, oh, shit, I remember. Oh, child. That's my shit. That was my jam.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome, Christine. Like I said, we have an open invitation to call in anytime. We'd love to have you on. You give great insight, and you are wise beyond your years. Thank you so much for dropping knowledge on us today. Thank you.
You see, we don't know how to act, so come back and enjoy. Bring a drink next time.
The show was very fun too.
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm having a moment. Hold on.
Say goodbye.
Look, one love, God bless. I know it's already 2 minutes into it, so I'm going to keep it real short. I'm having a great time. So, yeah. So, let's keep it moving. Roger.
Whatever. CB just got to be playing my jam. It took me back, and I'm going to a reunion too. I'm so beautiful. Anyway, I love y'all. Be easy.
Hey. Well, you know. I'll give you one guess what I'm gonna say.
Love, peace, and hair grease.
No, you got it wrong this time. It's love, peace. It's love, peace, and
George, go to bed, man.
Okay.
We ain't him.
Coach by the boy.
And with that, CB and the boys have left the building. See you next week. And don't forget to go to our YouTube and like us and subscribe. We love you guys, and bye-bye.
See you around like a donut.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.